Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I'm Dashen, Usman. The top stories this hour. Security operatives arrest about 18 NSAS protesters commemorating the 4th anniversary of the movement. Federal government set to transfer national grid management to an independent system operator. Leading opposition candidate condemns killing of 2 associates in Mozambique. Details shortly. We begin by telling you that today marks the 4th anniversary of the tragic events at the Lekki Toll Gate, where peaceful protesters were met with violence during the NSAS movement in 2020. The memory of that night continues to resonate deeply within Nigeria and beyond. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
4 years ago, thousands of Nigerians gathered at the Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos to demand justice against police brutality in the country. 4 years after, with an attempt at a solemn remembrance, banners and placards were seized and protesters apprehended and whisked away in a Black Maria.
Against unjust, police are protesters fighting for you. You are going to unrest you. Who are you going to come?
On the NSAS, Lekki Toll Gate massacre. Apprehended by a group of policemen under the leadership of the Commissioner of Police in Lagos. I'm right now speaking to you.
Look at me.
From a Black Maria.
I am beaten and my phones are seizing.
My glasses.
I will have been robbed.
The phones have been taken by the police. It was struck away from the hands of a police officer without any provocation. We're asking here today, when the right to commemorate the dead has become illegal and criminalized in this country.
Concerned citizens, over 20 in number, united to honor the memories of the deceased, but instead were faced with heavy resistance from the police. The Commissioner of Police, though present, did not address the press and instructed that his team shouldn't address the press either.
I just got arrested now via the area commander of Island. So I'm going to meet the likes minds of people inside the Black Maria. Solidarity forever. My struggle, freedom come.
Today's event serves as a poignant reminder of the ongoing struggle for justice, freedom, and above all, the enduring spirit of the NSAS movement in Nigeria. In Lagos, for News Central, I'm Bettina Nweli.
In the meantime, the pan-Yoruba social, cultural and political group, Afenifere, has cautioned the federal government against following recent advice from the World Bank, which suggested reducing government support for social services in Nigeria. In a statement issued on Saturday by its National Publicity Secretary, Jare Ajayi, in Ibadan, Afenifere urged the government to carefully reconsider the implications of the World Bank's recommendations. The World Bank had advised that Nigeria maintain its ongoing economic reforms for the next 10 to 15 years to position itself as a leading economic power both in sub-Saharan Africa and globally. According to the bank, these reforms are essential for sustainable growth and development, allowing Nigeria to compete with other emerging economies. However, Afenifere pointed out that the current administration under President Bola Tinubu would have completed its term long before the anticipated benefits of these reforms are realized. The group stressed the need for homegrown policies that support local businesses, encourage innovation, and reduce the country's dependence on imports. To election matters now. Opposition parties in Kogi State have called for the arrest and prosecution of the chairman of Kogi State Independent Electoral Commission, COSIEC, for allegedly allowing sensitive materials to be diverted to the government house. They made their position known when they protested at the COSIEC office in Lokoja ahead of Saturday's local government election. Addressing journalists on behalf of other political parties, the Kogi State Organizing Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Abdulkader Ibrahim, alleged that sensitive materials for some local governments were diverted to Kogi State Government House. Similarly, chairmanship candidate for Social Democratic Party Olamaboro Local Government Area, Suleiman Malik Babanawa, discredited the election exercise.
Is a place where elections are conducted in my ward, Ward 4, Olamaboro Ward 4, Iga. And this is polling unit 006, maternity. And the electoral officers are not here.
What's the time now?
At about 11:25, 28, 29 a.m. The electoral umpires are not here. The Kogi State Independent Electoral Commission staffs are not here. The electoral materials are not here. No security, no sign of anything that elections are being conducted. We are here. I am here to vote, to cast my vote at the election. I have not been able to exercise my franchise, even as a candidate. And that is the same experience of what is happening in the entirety of my ward, in the 15 polling units.
Men of the Abuja State Criminal Investigation Department on Saturday arrested the National Vice Chairman of the Labour Party Southeast, CK Igara. The Vice Chairman, with the Julius Abure-led state executive, were in a meeting in a popular hotel in Aba when some masked security men stormed the location and took him away. News Central's Chinwe Ogele reports that the party supporters resisted arrest initially.
That was how CK Igara was taken away over yet to be disclosed offense. He was taken to the state's Criminal Investigation Department at Omwago in Omahia with no one allowed inside the premises.
Don't know, we have not seen any petition against him. So why should he be arrested in criminal department because he is the zonal chairman of Labour Party in the Southeast Zone?
The person held on right now in this at this location is the national vice chairman of the party, and also the chairman of the local government election committee. So we want to know why he's being kept at this location, and we have refused to be intimidated.
The police public relations officer in the state, Maureen Chinaka, was yet to confirm the arrest as of the time of filing this report. The caretaker committee's acting party chairman of Julius Abure's faction, Prince Ndubeze, is pointing accusing fingers at Governor Alex Oti.
We've been told by the by various people in the highly placed positions in Labour Party and in the government of Dr. Lesoti in Abia State that the local government election has been written.
Also, the secretary of the caretaker committee, John Ibujono, says it's sad that the governor who the party supported to win the 2023 election is doing everything possible to destroy the party.
We brought in this government through a democratic process. Everything that happened from the beginning to the end. I remember we marching down to the office, to INEC's office, insisting that the right thing must be done. And that process we want to sustain in this local government election. So anything devoid of that, we will not allow it.
According to them, Labour Party must be on the ballot of the forthcoming local government election, irrespective of what the governor allegedly plans to do from other parties.
The government in power must allow this election to be conducted in free and fair manner.
Same way we brought him in.
Everybody come and participate. Yes. Let all the parties come and participate.
They have, however, vowed to keep vigil outside the state CID premises until CK Igara is released.
We will sleep here and more people will join us. And that chaos they are looking for. They will see it until they will explain to us the reason of the police invitation or the arrest.
No one knows what the fate of the Labour Party will be at the local government election in November in the state. In Afenifere Central, Chinwe Ogele.
Meanwhile, Abia State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of C.K. Gara, the National Vice Chairman, Southeast of Labour Party. The public relations officer of the command, Maureen Chinaka, in a press statement, says detectives of the command invited, questioned and released Igara same day. Now, according to the statement, the command had been petitioned against Igara and 3 others by the acting chairman of the Labour Party in the state, Emmanuel Oti, for alleged impersonation and acts capable of causing breach of peace. News Central's Chinwe Ogele reports that C.K. Igara was arrested on Saturday during his party's meeting in Aba. And now we take a quick break, and when we come back, you'll find out that federal government plans to transfer national grid management to an independent system operator. We'll bring you details of these and many more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Former Nigerian President and Head of State Olusegun Obasanjo has visited Kogi State, where he called for collective efforts to address insecurity in the country. News Central's Umari Kirawa reports that the former president arrived earlier in the day to inaugurate 2 major urban and rural renewal roads projects executed by Governor Bala Mohammed. Now, the road includes the 17.7 kilometers Kano Road to Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa International Airport, Bauchi, as well as 30 kilometers Gubi Gari Ruda Bida Sea to Nasarawa Road, connecting Ganjua and Bauchi local government areas. Obasanjo, during his visit to Bauchi, also provided 200 students with digital hearing aids through his foundation. The federal government, through the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has announced that the discussions are underway to transfer the management of the national grid to an independent system operator in accordance with the provisions of the Electricity Act 2023. This move is expected to improve grid discipline and stability. NERC also confirmed that the recent national grid collapse on Saturday was caused by an explosion at the Jeba transmission station. However, efforts to restore power has made significant progress, with electricity supply reinstated in 33 states and the Federal Capital Territory by 1 p.m. on Saturday. This marks the 3rd national grid collapse in 1 week, leading to widespread power outages, and the grid had also tripped off on Monday and Tuesday during restoration efforts. In a statement posted on its official X handle, NERC acknowledged the recent increase in grid disturbances and assured the public that steps are being taken to address the issue. In the meantime, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has called on investors to invest in Abuja, saying the federal capital presents a conducive atmosphere for businesses to thrive. This was during the recently concluded Abuja Investment Summit, which showcased the potentials of the federal capital in a bid to woo investors. Amadine Uyi reports.
Abuja is Nigeria's political and administrative capital. While housing the seat of government, Abuja has been a convergence point for several cultures, the nation's diplomatic seat, and recently, an investment haven for investors.
Abuja is not just the political capital of Nigeria, it's a place of opportunities waiting to be harnessed. Our unique position, strategic location, and growing population create a fertile ground for investment across various sectors.
In a bid to ensure Abuja fulfills its key potentials for citizens and residents alike, the Abuja Investment Company has held the first Abuja Investment Summit to harness the potentials of the federal capital.
Abuja Business and Investment Summit is designed to showcase to our stakeholders and potential investors in Nigeria and worldwide the investment opportunities that are bound in the FCT. It's equally a platform to initiate collaborations to enhance economic growth cultural exchange, and sustainable development.
This summit is aimed at promoting investment opportunities in FCT, as well as creating a platform for networking among investors from within Nigeria and beyond.
The theme that has been chosen, optimizing market investment through partnership, involves leveraging the strength, resources, and capability of different stakeholders.
The Abuja Investment Summit will be pioneering a new approach to it, where you bring in the investors and the businesses. I am hopeful that this will be, a summit where deals will be closed.
While the minister assured of the FCT administration's commitment to delivering key infrastructures to support businesses, others called for collaboration and partnerships by investors.
We recognize that infrastructure is the backbone of any successful investment. That's why we have prioritized the development of roads, transportation networks, and utilities to ensure seamless connectivity within the territory.
It is important to identify strategic partners that will bring complementary strengths, such as expertise, market access, technology, and capital.
I would like to remind participants about the power of building strong partnerships for the achievement of a win-win situation in our business endeavors. Together, we can optimize our investments and drive the impactful change that our organization and country needs for economic prosperity.
The summit hopes to attract investments into Abuja, making it an investment haven. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
There are renewed calls to equip women to not just make money, but become sources of wealth and success. From personal branding to career hacks, investment tips, skincare secrets, and more, financial experts say the way forward is equipping women with the resources to become the bag themselves.
In order to enhance financial innovation and access, Women's Economic Empowerment Report reveals important linkages between financial inclusion and economic empowerment. It says only 22% of women in Nigeria are economically empowered, and they are more likely to be if they have access to and use financial services.
The statistics and the data is really stacked against women. And I think we need to start to change that narrative. The data shows us that women are not just discriminated against, but they are much worse off than their male counterparts. And so how do you break that? How do you start to break that cycle? It's really about providing the financial information and education to these women. We have a lot of intelligent, young, dynamic women in Nigeria today. And I think that within the financial sector, providing them with the necessary tools and resources really enables them to take the financial decisions towards financial independence.
When over 7,000 women converge for Afenifere, it's more than just chasing money. Experts say that empowering women involves helping them to take charge of their money.
Over time, we always talk to women about money. You have to save, you have to invest. But most times, do they have the tools they need for these things, right? Not just listening, but being able to take action on the spot, right? So here we have different organizations, investment banks, fintech platforms, insurance, a lot of them. You could walk up to them like, okay, I want to sign up to this thing. Can you guide me? I'm trying to do this. I'm not sure how. So there they will guide you on the spot. You're not just hearing, you are also taking action.
Becoming the bag as a theme continues in the line to foster financial literacy and economic power through diverse activities and sessions with top financial experts, career professionals, respected actors, influencers, and business leaders.
A lot of the people here are not about making the money. Some have their money. It's how to invest the money, how to use your money. And some people are here to learn how to make the money. And it's about her bag. Absolutely. Every woman needs to make her own money. I think for every man too, you want assets, you don't want liabilities. For a woman to become an asset to you, she has to be a financial woman. She has to be someone who owns her own, who makes her own money.
Education, digital and financial literacy are most significant drivers of empowerment. This is followed by household and group agency regarding women's autonomy to join and influence decision-making in social groups like financial hubs.
Director, National Orientation Agency, Plateau State, Kaneng Horo, has called for nationwide sensitization on the national anthem and the 747 National Values Charter. According to her, the initiative represents a pivotal moment for all Nigerians, one that seeks to strengthen the bonds of our national identity, promoting the values that unite us as Nigerians. News Central's Chizoba Nyongwe tells us more.
It was at a press briefing that the director of the National Orientation Agency in Plateau State brought to the fore the need for citizens to be further sensitized on the national anthem and the National Value Charter. The director said there is a need for Nigerians to have a rethink by changing their perception about the value systems in the country.
The National Values Charter is not just a set of guidelines, it is a call to action for all Nigerians. It encourages us to reflect on our actions and consider how we can contribute positively to our communities. By aligning our behaviors with these values, we create an environment where everyone can thrive.
For the Nigeria we crave for, citizens are urged to be alive to this charter.
The nationwide sensitization on the national anthem and the National Values Charter is more than an initiative. It is a movement towards a more harmonious and accountable Nigeria. By embracing these values, we not only honor our past, but also pave the way for a brighter future for Plateau State and for Nigeria as a whole.
However, some residents of Plateau who spoke to News Central believe that if the change the country deserves does not come from its leaders, then it may be a mission in futility.
You cannot tell people on a hungry stomach that things will get better with words. When they've not eaten, they cannot access education, there is no proper health care, there is nothing happening in the country. So I feel if the National Orientation Agency will be able to put in words to the president to ensure that, okay, he speeds up whatsoever good plans he has for the country, then we'll be able to see and it will boost our morals.
The school fees is on the increase. The fuel is on the increase. There's no food. Hunger is actually the order of the day. And how do they expect that you should be patriotic? You are requiring something from me, but you're not giving me. Then I wouldn't be.
We should adhere to those values that to bring us together. But again, our leaders must lead by example. They must display those values, they must display those leadership qualities. By doing that, citizens of this country will key into it.
As these Nigerians have spoken their minds concerning their level of patriotism and the value system obtainable in Nigeria, one would expect that the National Orientation Agency takes back this message to the appropriate quarters for the change that is desired in our nation. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyomi.
Thank you, Chizoba, for that report. Now, the world is currently facing numerous challenges, but poverty remains one of the most pressing and persistent issues. Many nations are struggling to address the root causes, including the aftermath of war, mismanagement of resources, and lack of adequate infrastructure to boost their economies. As a result, global leaders are bearing the heavy responsibility of finding solutions to eradicate poverty. During a courtesy visit to the broadcast office of News Central TV in Lagos, the UNICEF Deputy Executive Director for Partnerships discussed this issue in detail, highlighting the organization's efforts and contributions in the fight against poverty. News Central's Chidinma Ona shares more in this report.
Poverty, a persistent reality for many, has long been a source of hardship and despair. In Africa, it takes on multiple forms, and in Nigeria, it has remained a significant challenge for decades. Efforts to eradicate or reduce it have proven difficult, with the ripple effects impacting not only individuals and their families, but also entire communities and nations. This has spurred international organizations, particularly the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, to take action in addressing the issue. In a conversation with Kitty van der Heijden, she discusses how climate change and poor economic conditions obstruct development efforts and explores solutions to help children thrive amidst these challenges.
It's protection. But currently what we also see is that many of the development gains that we have achieved over decades are being eroded by climate change. And so really working on making people aware what climate change is doing to children and equipping children for a future that looks very different than when I left high school. And then third, perhaps, it's a very difficult period in life for children. Since we were established almost 80 years ago on education as the foundation for children to be equipped.
In a live interview, the UNICEF Deputy Executive Director for Partnerships revealed the organization's significant efforts, highlighting the holistic approach that begins with providing education and healthcare services to children.
We work with private sector partners, we work with the government partners, the Ministry of Education at federal and at state level to look at curriculum development. It is an essential part of the recipe of economic transformation to make sure that children are healthy, that they're educated, that they are equipped, but also, and this is an important part for the future of Nigeria with a very young population, that they're skilled with the green and digital skills that will actually land them a job.
As efforts to improve the quality of life for people worldwide continue, it is crucial to address all development challenges thoroughly, leaving no stone unturned. In Lagos for News Central, I am Chidinma Ona.
Right now, we'll go back to Kogi State, talk about the local government elections, where opposition parties protest alleged diversion of sensitive materials. And we have joining us on the news to discuss this, Isaiah Ijele. He's the Director, News Media Spokesperson, Muri Sam Campaign Council, SDP. Hello, Isaiah. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, to begin with, the opposition parties in Kogi State are calling on the resignation of the COSIEC chairman in Kogi State. What is your take on this?
It is not just to call for the resignation of the COSIEC, also for immediate arrest of all the officials that are part of this process. Look what happened yesterday. It was just a charade and lack of respect to the rule of law. And I'm not surprised, to be candid, to be sincerely speaking, because this is what we've been saying. Kogi State is now a den of lawlessness, ranging from their godfather, the Bello, now to Dudu. You know, it's a continuation of all what we have been saying over the time, that Kogi State is as though that state is another country on its own. But yesterday, they also, have confirmed what I have been saying, that we need to revamp our electoral process. Listen to this. There is no good governance in any country without a functioning electoral process. What brought the same Ododo there is a charade. And they are making caricature of electoral process. And that is the same thing that we saw yesterday. In fact, a candidate of a local government of Olamaboro went to his polling unit. There was no ballot paper. There was no any officials of the COSIEC. And so many of our candidates. Now, do you call that election? That is not an election. It's just making caricature and telling President Tinubu that you can do nothing and you are not equal to the task and to govern this country. This is what they did in 2023. General election, and in Kogi State, the gubernatorial election. Everybody know, even you, the whole world know we won the election. But it was jettisoned on the altars of technicalities down to the Supreme. And now yesterday, this thing again. But trust me, 2027, you are not going to find it easy.
All right, Isaiah. Please, can you give us a sense of, how the incidents, especially the diversion of these materials, affected the elections yesterday? Just give us an idea, a sense, or a few examples.
Okay, for instance, you saw in one of the videos I sent to your station, yesterday, some of our officials, some of our agents went to the COSEC office in Lokoja to escort. Normally, you have to go to the center, then escort the electoral material to your local government, then to your ward, or from your local government to different locations, to different polling units. Now, our men went there, gathered themselves, and then met some of the officials with some of the police, civil defense, and all security agencies were all present. At the end of the day, they loaded the whole thing in the vehicle. You have the video, you can play it. And, zoom up to an unknown destination. And information had it that it was taken to the local, the government house. I also sent you a video of where you saw some of the officials with the vehicle packed down somewhere, and they were completing it inside the bush. What do you call it? Now, what you are seeing there, that is our Olamabro local government chairman. That is his polling unit. And there was nothing like election. Now, you see the same governor, they say, congratulating all the APCs. The APC cannot win one local government in a free, fair, credible election in Kogi State. What have they done that deserve them winning all the local government? And look at this, my dear sister. This country is heading to a serious anarchy if our electoral process is not revamped, and if our electoral process continues to be like this, there will be lawlessness in 2027. My polling unit will produce 7 million results because nothing will happen. If others are doing it and nothing is happening to them, we are waiting for this government in 2027.
All right.
The bedrock of the democracy,
thank you so much.
The bedrock of good governance is electoral process.
All right. Thank you so much, Isaiah, for taking time out to speak to us, on this. And, we empathize with you on everything that's actually happened yesterday. But we hope that moving forward, elections will be free, fair, and credible. Thank you. Coming up after the break, Mozambique's leading opposition candidate condemns killing of 2 associates, labels it barbaric crimes. We'll bring you details in a moment. Stay with us. The news continues in West Africa, where Senegalese Prime Minister Usman is calling on voters to give his PASTEF party an overwhelming majority in the West African nation's November 17 legislative elections. Sonko, while speaking to supporters at a pre-election rally in the capital Dakar, said this would enable him and the president realize their plans to transform the country.
xayma bu njëkk bi ñu def rek nee nañu levé nañu déjà lu mat 500 millions te mbir yaa ngi continuer di dugg ngàcce gaalaama Pastef dama ne kuy tibb tànk wala ngay marquage kilot rek defal ñu gis rôle bi war a assemblée war a jouer ci réew mi. Il faut que nous jox le président Bassirou Diomaye Faye gannaaw buñ ko falé premier tour ci opposant lu musul am à 54%, mënuñu def leneen lu dul jox ko les moyens mu doxal politique am mooy jox ko une majorité écrasante à l'Assemblée nationale le 17 novembre.
In the east of the continent, Mozambique's leading opposition candidate, Venancio Mondlane, has condemned the killing of 2 of his close associates, describing the act as barbaric crimes. He accused the security forces of being responsible for the attack. Lawyer Elvino Diaz and Paulo Guambe, a fellow candidate from the Podemos party, supporting Mondlane in the October 9 presidential elections were shot dead in Maputo while preparing to challenge the disputed election results. According to witnesses, 2 attackers fired approximately 20 shots after surrounding the victim's car with several vehicles in the early hours of Saturday. The European Union has also condemned the killings, calling for a full and transparent investigation to ensure that those responsible for this outrageous crime are brought to justice.
As armas que você tem, o blindado que o senhor tem, o gás lacrimogéneo que você tem, nós o povo temos. Nós é que lhe conferimos poder e mandato para o senhor exercer essa competência de manter a ordem e manter a lei. Se o senhor, a nós que lhe demos o mandato, o senhor quer reprimir, quer intimidar, quer aterrorizar, o senhor vai obrigar a saber quem é que tem o maior poder de aterrorizar aquele. O senhor vai perceber quem é que tem o poder de revirar o país de um dia para o outro. Portanto, não provoque. Queremos fazer uma manifestação pacífica com os nossos cartazes na rua. Queremos manifestar, queremos mostrar o repúdio para estes crimes bárbaros que têm feito.
Let's also tell you that Kenya's ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on Sunday lashed out at his boss William Ruto as vicious and cruel, warning that his life could be in danger. Gachagua was impeached by the Senate on 5 out of 11 charges leveled against him on Thursday, but a court order put his replacement process on hold. He was found guilty on charges including threatening judges and practicing ethnically divisive politics, but cleared of corruption and money laundering. The embattled 59-year-old said his security had been withdrawn and his entire staff sent on compulsory leave. He said if anything happens to him or his family, President William Ruto must be held to account, claiming past attempts at its life. In Central Africa, residents of several districts of Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, have called for help from the authorities after torrential rain triggered flooding where rivers burst their banks. Some of the victims said they have lost everything and even running out of food, and have asked the government to show goodwill and to be aware of the need to help the population.
Débordement ezaka chaque mbula moka mbula ebeti boye oyo moni eza moke c'est-à-dire mai traversant degré mabe kota ba palais so pe kutu mona la ina mbete mona pe akokufa c'est-à-dire suite à négligence ya mboka bakonzi suivez ça la raté on a cinq na gouvernement congolais na volonté na conscience ya zaranango à aider population parce que
c'est-à-dire qu'on a compressionné quoi rivière, l'eau ne passe pas. C'est pourquoi que ça déborde. Si ça déborde, ça manque par où passer, ça nous entre dans la maison.
Qu'est-ce qui a composé là?
Dans nos maisons, tout est abîmé. Tout. Nous manquons même quoi manger aujourd'hui avec les enfants.
In other news from around the world, voting is underway in Moldova for the presidential election and referendum on joining the European Union amidst fears of Russia meddling in the move. The elections are a test of the former Soviet republic's pro-European turn under incumbent President Maia Sandu, who is seeking a second term. The elections are said to have been marred with election irregularities where there has been massive vote buying. Police made hundreds of arrests, warning this week that up to a quarter of the ballots cast in the country of 2.6 million could be tainted by Russian cash.
Votat pentru un viitor mai bun a copiilor, a nepoților și a strănepoților. Să aibă dreptul să plece în orice țară liber.
Poate nu chiar suntem mulțumiți, fiindcă, mă rog, ar trebui să facă un pic mai mult. Să mai întoarcă cu fața la popor. Da, din tot ce este, am găsit. Din tot ce este, am găsit.
Alege o direcție decisivă, cumva, pentru viitorul țării, pentru că nu mai putem pretinde neutralitate și trebuie să participăm într-o familie mai mare, că suntem mici și trebuie să fim inteligenți.
Păi se hotărăște soarta Moldovei. Avem un drum în Europa, noi nu mai stăm pe loc, nu mai suntem mărginiți cu gazul, nu mai suntem cu lumina, nu mai suntem chiar și războiul este sub coastele noastre, ne îngrijorează, ne încordează, ne vrem libertate.
In business, stock market investing can be intimidating, particularly for novices, but with the correct information, it can be a very effective strategy to increase your wealth. Every beginner investor has to learn certain fundamentals, such as how to share or how shares are bought and sold, how dividends are paid, and how to monitor the performance of your portfolio. Nasir Agbalaya, business editor, compiled this report to assist newbies on how to start.
Investing in stock market can be a rewarding venture. But for beginners, understanding the basics is essential to making informed decisions. Today, we're breaking down key concepts that every new investor should know when buying and selling shares. So what exactly does it mean to buy and sell shares of a company?
Shares basically are part ownerships, right? When you own shares, you own like part owner to a particular business or company. Buying and selling shares basically involves trading ownership stakes in businesses and companies listed at the stock exchange. We're in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, it's the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
The same way you can just walk in to buy shares from your neighboring store, the same way you just go to buy shares on a company. That easy. The only difference is instead of buying from a neighboring shop, you're buying from an exchange through your stockbroker.
What key factors should be considered before diving into the equity markets?
It is also important that as a beginner, you start with a manageable amount of capital and funds that you cannot afford to lose. Please do not invest your school fees, your children's school fees, or your house rent.
If, for example, I'm someone that wants to buy and sell, so I have to look for shares that are possibly underpriced, or that I think the company will be able to perform better in the coming years, or that I think the nature of their business, I can see the growth trajectory, right? So I can buy and say, okay, maybe in the next 2 years, this company should have increased the share price and I can sell. But if you're a long-term investor that you want to hold that share for like 10 years, 15 years, the type our parents used to do, then you have to look at the business they are doing. Is that business sustainable into the foreseeable future?
How does it work? There is a portal, an independent portal that was created, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigerian Interbank System, registrars and banks came together to actually develop that portal, and it has progressed over time. So I'm sure most investors would be aware of the formal physical mandate form. You don't have to go through other hassles again.
From the traditional dividend payment model to e-dividend. E-dividend is very simple and straightforward. What it means is once you fill the e-dividend form with your registrar, once the company announces and pays dividend, you receive it alert. You will receive it in your bank as if someone is transferring money to you.
Finally, tackling your stock portfolio's performance is key to making smart investment decisions. What tools are available to help investors stay informed?
Many of the stockbroking outfits, the stockbroking houses now have apps where you can buy and sell without even sending instruction on the platform.
The moment a company declares dividends and sets a payment date for that, the very payment date you would get your dividends. That's basically the advantage as against having to wait. So in the past, we used to use dividend warrants where we would tear warrants, envelope, and then post it to shareholders' addresses. Now, you get your money real time.
Investing in the stock market can be a journey filled with learning opportunities. With the right knowledge and tools, you can navigate the complexities of shares, dividends, and portfolio management successfully. Stay informed. Stay invested.
In the world of sports, Bayer Leverkusen striker Victor Boniface escaped with minor injuries after he was involved in a car crash on Saturday. The Nigerian international scored Leverkusen's winning goal in their 2-1 victory at home in Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga earlier in the day. But the 23-year-old was taken to hospital in the evening after the Mercedes he was traveling in was involved in a major incident. Leverkusen have said that Boniface is fine and that the striker has only suffered minor injuries to his hand. Boniface uploaded multiple photographs and a video of his smashed Mercedes on Instagram. Leverkusen are due to play away to French side Brest in the Champions League this Wednesday. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, here's another look at some of our top stories. We told you that security operatives arrest about 18 NSAS protesters commemorating the 4th anniversary of the movement. We also told you that federal government set to transfer national grid management to an independent system operator. Finally, you heard that leading opposition candidate condemns killing of 2 associates in Mozambique. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Arrow TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Dashen Usman.